And then they'll have that one game every year that they shouldn't lose against a bad team.
Yeah.
And then they'll have that game against a good team that they shouldn't win that they will win.
You're right.
So,
You're right. Is this a trap?
Is this a trap game? I think it is a trap game. Kyler Murray.
Stats. He's here. He's going to say Cardinals. He's going to say Cardinals.
I'm not going to say Cardinals.
Ah!
It's in Pittsburgh. That's the difference. It's in Pittsburgh. I think they're still going to have some juice, but look for in a couple weeks when they play teams like
400 yards. 400 yards. Kenny Pickett doesn't turn the ball over.
Kenny Pickett is a small
They got
man.
They got two running backs that can get you 100 yards per game. Minka Fitzpatrick is back. This is old time Steeler football. This is pierogies. This is kielbasa.
Look, if the Ravens have their annual collapse down the stretch,
we go.
Week 18.
Here we go.
All
Steelers.
I'm saying is Steelers-Ravens. That could be a game that
Steelers.
everyone's looking
Picking
at.
the Steelers. All right.
I'm picking the Steelers.
Where else are we going in the NFL?
We're going to Houston, back into the.
Okay, this
Texans.
is an interesting game.
Houston, C.J. Stroud. Let's talk about it for a second.
C.J. Stroud,
MVP candidate, not just rookie.
could be Rookie of the Year, could be MVP. Stats left.
Stats is gone.
I don't know where he is.
We don't know where he's at.
Hey, can anybody tell us in the studio if there's ever been a rookie that's also won MVP? And it's totally silent, guys. We got nothing.
Yeah, sorry,
so we'll
guys.
have to come back to find out now. But C.J. Stroud is playing great
playing
ball. But I
great.
tell you who else played great ball.
Russell Wilson.
Well, I was going to say the Denver Bronco defense.
Oh, that's playing very good ball. 70 points to now.
Yeah.
Winning them
Ever since that Miami game, they've gotten things on track. Who you got in this one?
Who do I got? It's tough to pick because this is the most 50-50 game I think of the year. Houston wins these type of games where you kind of maybe leaning against them, and C.J. Stroud proves everybody wrong. But then, of course, Danger Russ. Odds have been against Danger Russ the entire season, but they've let him cook. I'm going with Mr. Unlimited this week. They're beating the Texans.
I'm going with the Broncos, too, and I'm doing a shout-out for Ryan Barker. Mr. Barker, I know you've had a rough first part of the season, but now it's your time to shine as a Bronco fan. Broncos win this one.
Who would have thought a month ago we would be saying
I wouldn't have picked the Broncos.
are going to be beating the future Rookie of the Year, potentially MVP candidate, C.J. Stroud.
Maybe never happened before. I don't know.
I don't know.
We don't have stats here. We have no idea.
This is just what I don't know football because I couldn't have predicted this going into the season.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then, of course, I mean, there's probably going to be no game bigger than this week. Maybe in the last 2 weeks. I don't know. Philadelphia, they keep winning. They find a way. But they're going to have to find a way to win against probably the only team, one of the only two teams in the NFC that can rival them, San Francisco.
I thought the Bills could rival them.
The Bills did rival them.
You know, I thought that. It was a messy game and everything. I think they got a little bit of chip on their shoulder, the 49ers, but a couple things, they're traveling all the way across the country. And here's the deal. Philly doesn't lose. And until they do, how can I pick against them? And Jalen Hurts like this, man, he just... nothing phases him.
Nope.
And so I'm going with Philadelphia here. I think it's going to be a close game. But I'm picking Philly in this game. Stats, has there ever been a Rookie of the Year that's also won MVP? We tried to ask any of the other students. Nobody else was able to get back to this because we're talking about C.J. Stroud. So I'm Philly. I know you don't maybe they like that. Although, I will tell you, at the beginning of the year, I picked the 49ers and the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl.
That could still happen.
Okay.
This is one of the toughest games. Why? Because we don't know. This is NFC Championship rematch, and Philly beat San Francisco down, but we don't know what would have happened in that game because what was it, like the fourth play in for San Francisco on offense? Brock Purdy tears his UCL. I mean, just freak injury. And that ruined San Francisco's season. They had to go to, I think, Josh Johnson, who then got hurt. They had to go back to Brock Purdy.
I think the kicker was the quarterback at the end of the game or something.
It really might
be. It was that bad.
I mean, it changed the rules for the NFL. That's how bad it was. So I don't know.
All right, so, hey, we're getting this in. We got our guests ready. If you want to give them a call or if we got a couple other things to do, got our special guests. Where are we going with this?
We'll finish NFL.
All right, that's right. See, we don't want any.
We don't want to bounce back and forth.
All right.
San Francisco. really want to pick them, but regular season, I'm going to go with Philadelphia. Very tight game. Game of the year potential.
Okay.
And then we got one more game.
One more.
Chiefs going into Lambeau Field. First time in Patrick
Jordan Love playing very well.
5 and 6. They're going to make the playoffs. The Packers. They're going to win 10 games. That's my hot take. But they're not going to win a game this week.
They're not. I don't think so either. I think the Chiefs are going to come in there. They're just a better team overall. I think it's going to be closer than what people thought.
Oh, yeah, very
this is an old school rivalry. This goes all the way back to the first Super Bowl with Chiefs and Packers. But the Chiefs are going to be the ones that win this one. Okay.
So all right. Well, now we transition into our other. I guess, level of football. It's high school, and it's Super Six week, and it's a state championship time. And we have a very special guest on this week. He is the North Marion Huskies head football coach. His name is Daren Hays. Welcome on to the
Let's give it up for Coach Hays.
Give it up for him.
Hey, Coach Hays, welcome to our show. And I'll let you know that I picked you in the Husky Bowl.
That's my man right there.
There you go.
This has been a magical season for them. 12-1. They've made it all the way to the state championship. And he's been with this team for what? How long would you say, Coach? Last 10 years?
15.
15 years. And it's been rough. They went through a rough stretch, but over the last couple of seasons, since about 2017, it's been 6-4, 6-4, 5-5. They've turned it around. And then 2021 was a breakthrough year. They went 8-3 last season, 11-2, made it all the way to the state semifinals, and now this week, okay, they have made it to the state championship game. So, Coach, go into a little bit of how has the season gone? Only one loss on the schedule, and it's to the team you play in the state championship game. So, not to get into any game plan or whatever, but how's practice been this week, and how confident are you going into this game?
First of all, the season's been, it's been one for the ages, so to speak. We played a pretty rough schedule, really. We ended up playing or scrimmaging half the playoff field when the things came out. Everybody we've played so far in the playoffs, we either played or scrimmaged in the regular season. So they were all rematches. None of them were really unfamiliar foes. But I think we've gotten better as the years went on. We've gotten a little more comfortable. We've developed a little bit of depth. We've been really lucky. We've avoided any kind of major catastrophic game. We've battled through. Our quarterback Casey Miner had a high ankle sprain, and there through the middle of the season he missed a game, and he was kind of hindered through a couple others. We've had a couple guys with concussions and things of that nature, but we've avoided all the catastrophic season-ending deals like you get every now and then. So that's been a little bit of luck on our side as well. And then this group's just really done a great job of focusing on each individual week, treating every game, every play like it's got a life of its own, and just trying to focus on being 1-0. And this week's really no different than that. Like we've talked, it is kind of a rivalry game. They're an inter-county school. We play every year. And we haven't had a whole lot of success in the recent future. I think it's been 20 years since we beat them. And before that, it was 9 years that we won in a row. So, so it's kind of been a lopsided series. But we're looking forward to just focusing on the fact that we're playing in a state championship game and really not so much about the opponent.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Coach. The history of this matchup, it was 1981. I'm sure you know this. State championship game was against Fairmont Senior, and North Marion, your school, your Huskies won 21-6. So the history is on North Marion's side going into this game. But not only that, it's also it's the program's first title game since 1997. And I know you went to this school. I'm sure it means a lot to you. But what does this mean for the program? How much does it mean to the program in this school?
Well, it's everybody's ultimate goal to get to Wheeling, and only 6 a year get to do that. So we talked at Thanksgiving about the fact that there was only about 8% of the football teams in West Virginia were still practicing on Thanksgiving Day. And then this week, obviously, that number gets cut in half. So you're talking about 6 schools out of over 120, I think, that play football. So just being in that conversation is quite an honor, and it speaks volumes to our kids' commitment in the off season, our kids' commitment to doing the right things in the classroom, and in the weight room, and all those kind of things. It's a huge step for us, but we've done a pretty good job, and that's probably something that I'm a little bit anal about it. staying, no rearview mirror, always looking through the windshield and focusing on what's important. And then, there's time to reflect on the season, and that time's when the season's over, which we know now when our season's going to be over. Our season's going to be over on Friday night. It's just a matter of whether we end it with a win or end it with a loss.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think this is going to be the game of the week, Coach. Again, this is a major rivalry, okay? We've kind of seen, like in AAA here at Musselman, major rival of ours is Hedgesville. And, of course, you've kind of seen where these rivalries, they mainly go where one team's going to win this rivalry for the next 5 years. And then, again, like in your case, 20 years you guys have lost in a row. But, I think you guys beat Fairmont Senior Friday. That's my pick.
Coach, hey, this is Mr. Brown. I just wanted to say thank you.
I like your pick.
Yeah, no, I'm picking, or you guys, North Marion. Did I say Fairmont Senior?
No, you said North Marion.
Okay, good.
You're trying to pass it to me.
Yeah.
Coach, this is Mr. Brown. I wanted to appreciate you joining the show for the day. I had the privilege of playing in the state championship, too. Back in 1989, I played for Coach Denny Price, played football here at Musselman, and then was able to coach for several years till I had kids. I will tell you, we were undefeated. We went down and played a team. We were playing at Laidley back then. We played East Bank, and we set 3 state records, but lost the game 13-9. And one of the biggest things is we had turnovers. With that being said, what are some of your keys to the game to be able to win that? And like you said, every play counts.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, that's awesome that you play on Coach Price. We actually scrimmaged Musselman when I was in high school, and we played up there a couple times when Coach Price was still there. So, we got a little history too. And actually, Mannington High School played Musselman, I believe, at the playoffs in like '75 or something like that.
Yeah, the Musselman won in '74.
Musselman won it. Yep.
And then '82, and then.
Won it, man.
Yep.
No, I think the biggest key, you nailed the big one. I mean, the biggest 2 keys in football, I believe, are explosive plays and turnovers. That was a huge factor in this game in the regular season. We played this game, it was right in the middle of the season, and I think we kind of made it a little bit bigger than it probably should have been. We were on a winning, we were 5-0, 4-0 at the time. They just, I believe, lost one before that with Bridgeport, and we felt like we were kind of flying high. We came in, we had an early turnover, and we gave up some explosive plays. Those are I think those are the 2 biggest stats in football right now. And they're good in both of those groups. They do a good job of taking care of the football. They do a really good job of getting it. I think number 10 for them just had like a 15% career interception as a junior, which is pretty impressive. So we got to do a good job of not putting the ball in harm's way when we do take returns thrown it. We got to secure it. Fred mentioned to one of our guys last night on the radio that we had 23 fumbles, and we do have 23 fumbles, but then there's an errant snap. That's considered a fumble on the stat.
Absolutely.
Played a backup center for 3 games. So that was where a lot of those fumbles came from. It's probably not nearly as bad as meets the eye. But we got to do a great job taking care of the football, limiting explosive plays, and then creating a couple of them on our own would be huge.
Yeah, no, that's the key.
Well, Coach, I would be remiss before we leave if I wouldn't give you a shout out for Brian Thomas. Coach Thomas wanted me to make sure I told you hi. I had the privilege of coaching Brian when I was at Hedgesville coaching, and I actually had him in the classroom. But that's for another story of how that went. But here on the hills of West Virginia, we want to wish you the best luck, and hey, make sure you get this podcast out in Marion County. We want to try to. We got how many viewers do we have? Hundreds of thousands of viewers, Coach. So I'm picking North Marion on this one. Who do you got, Morbius?
Oh, North Marion.
Yes, and we wanted to really thank you. Have a great week, and good luck to you, Coach.
Appreciate it. Tell Coach Thomas I said hello, and tell Mr. Welch thanks for hold up and getting me on. It's been fun.
Sure will. Thank you, Coach.
All right, guys, take care.
All right,
Thank you.
All right, good job on that, Morbius, for that. We need to try to get more and more of that.
Oh yeah,
along with basketball.
A lot of history too. I like having those type of guest speakers where they just give so much history.
Well,
here's
what I like. Yeah, here's what I like. I like it the fact that this guy has been a part of Marion County, has played football for North Marion, and then goes in and becomes a coach there. Just that history. And you're right, Stats, you were saying how Marion County North Marion reminds you a lot of Musselman when you're up there, and that's true. So I'm picking North Marion on Friday night.
I think North Marion, they're the number 1 seed in AA, and it's very hard to win in AA.
Okay.
They figured it out. They're 12-1 right now. State championship game. Feel the magic in the air.
Okay.
I'm going North Marion to win this.
All right, let's go to Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon, Super Six. One of my favorite Saturdays of the year because it's championship day all Saturday.
Yeah.
First game, Princeton. Shocker. Who thought they were going to make it this far? Last week, maybe one of
73 points that they scored on.
and they gave up 70. Craziest game I've ever seen.
And then we have a Martinsburg team that is rolling 49-17 over the defending state champs.
Yeah.
Coach Walker is back at Wheeling for the 10th time, Stats?
They've given up 4.8 points per game this year.
10th time.
They got a team who just scored 73 going against a team that's allowing 4.8.
Yeah.
It's the unstoppable force versus the immovable
Hey,
object.
and you know where I go, and any time that I have to pick between offense and defense, I'm going with the defense. I'm going with the Dogs. They win their 10th. They win their 10th championship this Saturday.
Man, I'll tell you-
And congrats to Dave Walker. I know Dave. I was at Martinsburg when Dave was out there. He gave me an opportunity to help with coaching, and I'm so glad to see that he's back in and doing the same thing that he did beforehand. He's winning games.
Yeah, I don't know if we've disagreed at all this week on our
No.
picks because I'm going with Martinsburg.
Martinsburg too, yeah.
I've been betting against them. Well, not betting. This is just for pride. This is just for pride. But I've been picking against them all season, and they've just kept winning. They find ways to win football games. Dogs. I'm going Dogs.
And then Saturday night we got
Single A, Greenbrier West versus Williamstown. Both teams are undefeated. This is going to be
Both teams with upsets last week in the semis too.
against Tucker County, and who's Greenbrier? Did they beat? Was that James Monroe? No, wait, that's Double A.
We can always look at and see who they play.
We do have this thing called a computer.
Yeah, it's actually technology is great. They did play James Monroe.
I was right,
Yeah.
James Monroe.
So
I'm going Williamstown. I've heard that they are the best team in Single A
I've heard that too.
from a lot of my sources. So I'm going Williamstown.
Does Williamstown have a dog as their mascot?
I don't know, because it could be three
dogs.
dogs.
Dogs should go 3-0 this week. I don't.
Williamstown is the dog mascot.
I don't know. I'm going Williamstown too.
I thought they were.
Jackets.
I was getting ready to say they were Yellow Jackets. I think they were playing in '89. I know Brook and Capital played. We played East Bank. Stats, I don't know who played in the '89 Single A championship while we were down there at Laidley.
Yeah.
So, all right, there's our 3 picks.
Yeah, there's our 3 picks. We've gone so North Marion, Martinsburg, and Williamstown clean sweep on all. Not boding well. You never want to have just a clean sweep like that. But again, we'll see. I don't think we'll be wrong, but me somehow my picks always don't fall.
You know what Billy Joel said? You may be right, I may be crazy. So we are crazy. If we were crazy on this show.
We've gotten pretty crazy on this podcast.
Let's go.
When I picked against Georgia, should have never done that. All right, so here we go. Now, I said it's one of my favorite Saturdays of the year because it's not just championship weekend for high school football. It's one of the best Saturdays of the year for college football. Conference championship week. Last week was rivalry week.
All right.
Great week of football. We're going to start off Friday. I'll be watching this game, 8 o'clock p.m. Now, typically I would be watching SmackDown, at this time. Shout out to WWE. CM Punk is back. Huge. Big fan.
I am going to be going to a lot of Christmas parades and Christmas concerts. So I don't know how much football I'm going to be able to catch.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip it this week though, and I'm gonna watch football because this is kind of my darlings this year. I've been a Washington supporter the entire season.
Huskies?
It's Friday night Pac-12 championship.
So you're picking the Huskies. You're going with another.
Of course.
I'm going with the Ducks. I'm going to tell you right now.
Man.
Bo Nix and the Oregon Ducks are a team that is the hottest right now in college football. I don't know if.
Bo Nix is about to get his AARP in the mail.
I think he's been playing for I don't know how many years. Stats we've seen it,
A long time.
but I'm still picking the Ducks.
Well,
So that's where we disagree.
Well, I remember I was about 4 or 5, and my dad took me to a college football game, and I actually got to see Bo Nix play. It was great. It was one of those experiences I will never ever forget. So Bo Nix, Been around for a while, and he's going to lose this game, though.
All right, so whoever wins is in, whoever loses is out. I mean, this is a playoff. This is a playoffs before the playoffs start.
Championship, right?
All right.
Big for Washington. I think Washington pulls it out. So now, rematch of the Red River rivalry. Now we're at Saturday. ABC, be watching it. It's going to be Oklahoma, rematch.
It's not a rematch.
Not rematch.
It's Oklahoma State.
Sometimes that happens. You make mistakes.
It's Bedlam and the Red River rivalry together. You got Bedlam. I'm going Texas.
Yeah.
Texas is playing for something. Texas has an opportunity if something were to happen, if chaos occurs. Texas has a chance to get in. If Alabama beats Georgia, I'm just saying.
It could happen.
It would have to be like 2 or 3 losses.
They would have to be 2 or 3 losses, but there's still
Texas,
an outside.
they're still alive. They still have that little sliver of hope.
It's slim.
I think it's crazy how Ohio State is, ahead of them right now. I mean, don't get the committee.
Voters were talking about how crazy it is that Oregon is still ahead of them.
Oregon too.
And they said
Texas should
Oregon
be
ahead of them in every single poll.
Texas should be the first team out, in my opinion. They've beaten a good Alabama team, and if Alabama beats Georgia, I mean, oh my God, you're gonna have absolute mayhem. And I'm pulling for this, which is why I want the Texas Longhorns to win this game.
Texas.
So now we're gonna move down, of course, 4:00 SEC championship game on CBS. Alabama, Georgia. Man, I don't know, man. This is. Ugh.
I tell you what, I think that Georgia has a better quarterback, and Georgia has a better defense. Alabama, if Auburn rushes, if Auburn puts any type of pressure at all, we're not even having this conversation. But Georgia's going to win this game. I think Georgia. I'd like to see a Georgia-Oregon championship, maybe. I don't know.
The thing about Nick Saban, you count him out.
Are you going to pick Alabama?
You say they're dead.
Please say it. Please say Alabama.
I'm picking Nick. I'm not going. Actually, my grandfather, his best friend, is also the best friend of Nick Saban. Okay, they know each other. They're very close.
Nick Saban from
Fairmont, yes.
Went to North Marion High School. North Marion High School was a thing back then.
If it was a thing back then, he would have been going to North Marion. Nick Saban.
Give me Nicholas Saban. James Milroe, and that Alabama defense. Give it to me.
Okay.
Give me Georgia, or give me Alabama over Georgia. I'm not picking Georgia. I'm not picking.
So you're not picking a dog in this one.
I'm not picking a dog. I'm picking the Crimson Tide to win this game.
Okay.
So
what do you got next?
Next we got, of course. This is probably this is not going to be close at all, folks. I'm sorry. If you think this Iowa defense is going to stop Michigan, I'll tell you how this game's going to go. It's going to be 17-0. Iowa's not going to score.
Yeah, I don't think Iowa's going to get scored.
Right. It's going to be
Wolverines.
Wolverines. Now Michigan's going to play their game where their offense just shuts down in the second half, but they'll run you to death. They're going to run them to death. This is going to be like 23-0 or 17, something like that. It's not going to be blown out.
It's going to be old school.
But it's going to be physical.
Big Ten football.
Yeah.
All right. I picked Michigan Wolverines too.
So now, of course, we got this game right here. This is going to tell us everything. This is the chaos game right here. Florida State versus Louisville. Florida State wins.
Louisville lost last week.
Wins.
Georgia
loses. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. If Florida State wins, are they in?
I think
how do you keep?
You're undefeated.
How do you
as
keep
your
them out?
You play who's on. You play your conference.
You play your conference. You win your.
They're 4 right now.
They're 4 right now. They should make it in. I think if Washington and
who's our 1, 2, 3, 4?
Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State.
I think I could see that staying.
With Oregon.
If Georgia loses, do they still stay in?
I don't know.
I think they do.
I think you'd have. But
if
Alabama,
Michigan loses, do they stay in? I don't think they do.
No. Well, there's no way you could justify keeping Michigan.
If Washington loses, they're out.
A team like Iowa, and again, going back to Texas a little.
So
bit
if
here,
Washington
Texas
loses,
needs Michigan to lose. They need.
Yeah.
They need probably.
We need
probably
to do
Georgia.
we need to do a Venn diagram of this.
Yeah.
So if Washington loses, and Florida State loses, Oregon's in, and who else is in?
Ohio State.
Ohio State shouldn't be in, though, because they lost to Michigan. And if you say Michigan's not good enough to get in, and Ohio State lost to Michigan, then how can you say Michigan is good enough to get in?
We're talking Washington and Florida State not getting in. If Washington and Florida State both lose, that would bump Oregon and Ohio State.
And Texas wins,
Texas-
and they still are looking outside.
Texas is number 3 out.
I
know what
don't
I just
know
want? I just
about
want chaos.
that.
I just want Washington to win the national championship.
I want Washington to win too. That's why I picked them to win. We'll see if that sticks. I got FSU. I don't think Louisville is going to.
I picked back in August Florida State to win the ACC. I'm sticking with that. Florida State.
Like I said, if Florida State wins, there's no way the committee, if they want to be taken seriously. in my
How about
opinion,
a
can
how about a
justify
Washington
keeping
or
them out.
Oregon and Michigan game that to start it out?
What about a potential Washington and Oregon national championship?
Huh,
Hey,
I
I'm
can see that
listen,
happening. That
Listen,
could happen.
I saw 2 phenomenal college football games this year. One of them was Washington, Oregon. The other one was Michigan, Ohio State. The Ohio State.
Yeah.
Those were the 2 best games that I personally saw and watched. So if we could see a rematch of that stuff, okay.
All I know is this is going to be just an insane week.
Okay.
See, like I said, so my picks are Washington. Well, I guess my top 4 as of right now. What I think is going to happen is I picked Alabama. Actually, I have no idea what that would do. I would say probably if Michigan wins and Georgia loses, Michigan's the 1 seed. I think Washington, if Georgia loses, could be the 2 seed. And then this is where it gets a little bit dicey here because do you leave Georgia out and put an Alabama over them? I don't think you can.
Listen.
I don't think you can do that. But
Georgia's a lock. I think Georgia might be the only team.
Yep, they are a lot. It's going
I
to be
would
Georgia, Michigan. It's going to be Florida State and Oregon. That's what I picked. Those are going to be my 4. That's what I'm going with
I'm saying
on the show.
Michigan.
Now, remember, I got to teach here, and you got to come and learn.
yeah, no. Well,
You're learning about economics today.
well, here's my 4, and then that's it. Michigan.
Michigan's number 1.
Yeah, if Georgia loses, if my picks hold up,
Okay, all right. You.
Michigan, Washington, Georgia, FSU. That's how I think that would go. And Alabama
That's not
would be
bad
the
either.
first team out. Alabama
That's not
would be the
bad.
first team out. Because if they beat Georgia, you'd have to at least move them to 5, and you can't necessarily justify, not moving them in the top 6.
Okay,
So-
great show.
Yeah.
And then we still got a lot of stuff to talk about for the rest of this year.
Yes.
We're going to have we're going bowling.
Yep.
We're going bowling. We've got a lot of bowl games
We'll
that
have
we can
bowl
talk
games.
about.
Football's playoff pushes are
We got
starting.
and then
The NFL.
we definitely have the NFL to talk about all the way to February for
And
that.
it starts next week for us. We got high school basketball.
High school basketball's coming in. That's exactly right. Let's go, Musman Appleman.
Yeah, let's go, Musman.
And Coach Basil and all the coaching staff. We want good luck to you, Coach Potter. Good luck to the Lady Appleman too. We got a brand new coach in there. He's getting ready to take over. He is filled with excitement, and we are so happy to have him on staff and in the building. For Mr. Brown,
I'm Stephen Morbius Askin.
back to you at the studio.